Hello, internets. Welcome to our Friday weekly podcast with LARVOL. This is LARVOL's Onco Data Pre-ASCO Podcast. Glad for any of you who are able to listen in today. This is our second installment of the Pre-ASCO series. And last week we connected with our colleagues at Cadence and looked at some of the oncology data that we're already gathering social media reactions to. Today, we're actually keeping it a bit in-house. I'm joined here by my colleague, Judith Perez, and we'd like to take another quick look at some of the movement in not just social media, but also take a look at some of our analytics in our CLIN platform as we get closer and closer to ASCO. So to start out, I don't think I properly introduced myself, but I'm on this podcast a lot, but it's me, Mark Gramling. I'm the Vice President of Oncology at LARVOL. And before we start diving in and taking a look around and poking into the data, I'd like to make sure, Judith, give you the chance to introduce yourself. So Judith?
Thank you, Mark. Okay, so I'm Judith Perez, and I'm the Associate Director of Bioinformatics here at LARVOL. This means that I'm involved in CLIN in different ways, helping developing and improving the platform and the database that we have behind it. So I would be involved in adding new products and new efforts into the data platform that we will be seeing later, as well as I'm involved in data analysis, leveraging all the data that we collect in a trial-centric basis in CLIN, as well as some AI-powered projects where we both join the world of AI with all the data that we have in CLIN to try to get and take the most out of it and leverage all that power that we have.
Thank you, Judith. I appreciate your intro. You could translate that to say Judith is busy, stays busy, is always busy, and pleasure to work with Judith every day.
Same ways.
So I think what we'll do, maybe just for those maybe new to the Onco Data Podcast here, maybe we could pull up just CLIN, just maybe the homepage first, and then let's maybe look into some of the analytics. So just to reintroduce, for those who may be uninitiated, you can actually check out a free version of CLIN if you just go to clin.larvol.com or find us on Google, and you'd actually be able to see some of the features of CLIN, which you see here, which is open for previewing what we do, and maybe if you're just interested for research purposes, you have links to all of the trial data, also data for the conferences, and also some top-line data for the 2,800 or so oncologists, aka influencers, that we follow on social media on the X platform. So just wanted to introduce that if you look this up, that this might be what you'd find if you click through to CLIN. That being stated, maybe we'll switch over to the full version of CLIN, which you're interested in. Find us on social media, reach out to us via our website at larvol.com. But this is the full CLIN and all the different attributes. If you just look at the top of the screen, there's more analytics, more digitized data, outcomes data, and the like. But since we're honing in on ASCO, we're actually just going to maybe just pick out 3 new features, aspects to CLIN today. So Judith's doing the navigating. And so here, what we're looking at is in this top line graphic that you see here is reactions on social media to, at this point, it's the titles that are released for ASCO. We're still breathlessly awaiting, if that's how that phrase works, the abstracts to come out. But maybe I'll let my colleague Judith triangulate everybody to what these colors mean, what these rankings mean. So Judith, I'll punt over to you.
Sure. So in here, what we're looking at are the top trials with associated tweets from those influencers or DOLs that Mark was referencing at the beginning. So we keep track of those tweets that are associated to those abstracts, from the trials that will be soon released for ASCO 2024. And there we have a tool that is AI powered that would be able to rate all these tweets according whether they are practice impacting. So they realize that they have some sort of potential impact in the clinical practice for those tweets, for those trials and data releases. Then if they are positively rated, if they have a positive impact, or not rated, or more of a negative impact towards the results, or maybe related to toxicity issues with the results or on the costs. And indeed, we are soon to be having extra data there regarding that negative label. And from here, so we can see the number of tweets per each of the trials. And for example, clicking on there, you can inspect the tweets that are associated to those abstracts that are related with that ESOPEC trial, and see who is posting, what's posting, which are the reactions, if they are positive, or how is it being perceived, this abstract release.
Mm-hmm. And would you mind, Judith, just clicking very briefly through, we go back to the analytic feed, just show maybe the different panels. So this is, again, as Judith explained, this is a trial-centric view, and these are titles related to it and reactions to it. But as you can see there, here it's just arranged different ways by particular handles from all the incredibly talented people that we keep an eye out for. And we both curate and use AI to support that. So that's what you're seeing there. And if we were to keep going a little bit, we also take a look at reactions by the, well, in this case, it's sort of chaining information together, the sponsors of those trials for those data releases. And then maybe one more to click through. This is actually a new analytic that if you follow us on LinkedIn, especially, or follow us on any of our socials, you can see here we've created a matrix that aligns by trial versus by oncologist or influencer, as we call them on the site. So keep an eye out for that big purple matrix. We'll be releasing a number of these as we prep for ASCO. So awesome. So thanks for navigating while I talked over you, Judith. So that's just reintroducing what we do with our analytics for all of our conferences. But as we like to say, ASCO is the Super Bowl of oncology research, in our humble opinion. So that's why we're honing in on that in our podcast for last week, this week, and 2 more weeks to come. We'll be here every Friday. So keep an eye out for that. I did wanted to introduce something related visually. It's the same, but it's actually a related product or service or that we're doing. It's something that we're kicking off. If you'd be able to show a preview, and this is a little bit in flat form, but we've just started doing this to where if anyone's interested in getting daily alerts about this type of social media activity that we're talking about for ASCO, we're just starting out. This is a new element of CLIN. So just getting this off the ground. We piloted it recently, just recently at AACR, but we're geared up for delivering to your inbox. If you are interested, again, reach out to us on social or find us on larval.com. We can deliver a preview of that analytic. This isn't interactive because this isn't an email. We can give you a preview and an update. It's updated every day at the end of business for every day of ASCO, and you'd be able to see all of this activity. And then if you scroll down a little bit further, Judith, it's the same body content that we were just looking at. So we'll be calling out titles and how influencers, oncologists are responding to that data. So it's a great way to stay abreast of that. And even if you're maybe not a current subscriber to CLIN, our platform, this is something we'd be happy to work with anyone if you think this might be of service or helpful to you and your team. heading into McCormick Place in Chicago, we'd love to connect to provide this to you. So just wanted to bring that up today there. And then actually I wanted to, since we're a quick 15-minute podcast, I believe that I don't know if that's a record for the shortest podcast in the world, but we like to keep it rapid fire. I actually wanted to give credit where credit is due. Judith, as part of her role, has been doing a lot of really incredible work in a little bit more, I'll say, doing even more complex cross-trial comparisons in analyzing the landscapes of particular key patient populations. And it's connected because if we're looking at, let's say, here are the X reactions to these particular data releases, it begs the question of, obviously there's related trials and maybe how our influencers, oncologists are reacting to related trials in the same patient population. And it made me think of the great work that Judith has led building these, what we call landscapes. But to demonstrate what I was thinking about it this morning, if we look at, I believe it was EV301, I hope I'm not misspeaking, but maybe we could start there. And what it shows, and then I'll yield to Judith because she's the one building this thing, leading the build of this. Here, if maybe if you wanted to look at related trials, we actually are doing that in the landscapes and even with an analytic. So I'm not describing it as efficiently as I should. So Judith, maybe if you could show what that concept looks like, and then maybe a preview of the other type of data in the landscapes.
Sure. Okay, so in here, for example, in this case, EV301 has new data release and in this new abstract. And this influencer has treated overeat, collecting different trials that involve the use of enfortumab vedotin, which is an ADC that was approved thanks to EV301, and the confirmatory trial was EV201, and the confirmatory trial is EV301. And the idea here is that we have put together some landscapes which are meant to be a comparison of this key patient population definition, where we have, for example, second line urothelial cancer and the use of ADCs, where we including here EV301, which is the confirmatory trial we were talking about in that tweet, together with EV201 and another ADC that has been marketed for this second line plus urothelial cancer, that is Trodelvy, thanks to the data from TrophyU1. So in here, we have put together the comparison of the trial outcomes, packaging all the data we have in CLIN, and having the summary, kind of a summary, a data summary with the intervention, control status, and the primary outcome of those trials, along with the outcome data that has been used to then approve all these treatments. And in here, we have this EV301 that we were seeing in the tweet, but also we can explore this trial comparison within this key patient population definition, also in terms of the KM plot, so the median, the survival data in median survival, overall survival, PFS, and you can explore. This has all been manually curated, so the data, and every time that new data may come up, these landscapes will be also updated accordingly, and you can explore all the median data. Also for forest plot, since we are dealing with these phase 3 trials, we have data for this EV301. The other two were on phase 2, and we do not have forest plot data, also hazard ratios. Then we can explore the milestones for those trials. In here for the EV201, when it started, the finish, and the same for EV301. That is the one that indeed we were seeing in the Twitter reactions, where we can close the circle in here by evaluating also the Twitter reactions for those trials that we were comparing within this KPD, and that are the EV301, the EV201, and TrophyU1. And in this case, if we get to that positive Twitter reaction section, you could get back into and see this ASCO tweet post that we were seeing initially.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Judith, for running through that. I know that's a lot to cover in a brief amount of time, but just I wanted to highlight not just Judith, but obviously the whole team's work in creating those sorts of analyses. We're going to be scaling those soon, so and we're also working with both oncologists and getting their inputs and building these and scaling up these type of analyses, and also with our customers who are current clin customers. So it's a great directive, a little bit different, not quite as real time as the Twitter analysis that we do and that we update every day. It takes a little bit more curated to do that, but I wanted to highlight the landscape work that's new to the clin platform. So with that said, we're coming up on time, or we might be slightly over. Keep an eye out. I have to self-promote for the third time. Keep an eye out. We'll be doing Onco Data Podcast again next Friday as more and more data and more social reactions come in. So keep an eye out for us there. We're also looking at doing a webinar end of next week, which will be live. So also keep an eye out for that on social. So we'll be doing 2 of those, and then even another Onco Data. Well, we do this every Friday, but our pre-ASCO, our last pre-ASCO Onco Data will be the subsequent week. Planning to join with our friends at Blue Star for that. So as they say on YouTube, like and subscribe or follow us on all social. Appreciate everybody listening in today. Appreciate you, Judith, for joining me. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks, interwebs.
Thank you.